enrolled in Spanish for beginners at my local university. I bought my notebook, I sharpened my pencil, and I committed to becoming at least semi functioning in Spanish.
Welcome to What's That Got to Do with Marketing, where we start with a story you did not see coming. It might be fun, could be funny, or even a little bit frantic. But in the end, it will all make sense, leaving you with a takeaway, a to-do, or a transformational way forward. And I'm your host, Victoria. And you, my friend, are here for unlikely lessons and unforgettable marketing advice, just for small B2B expert-led business owners. Let's get into it.
This episode is called Fluency Marketing. Now, a while ago, I was in Spain and I was surrounded by people who could switch between languages like they were choosing a TV channel. Just so fluent and absolutely effortless. And there I was, the proud owner of exactly 1.1 languages, English with a little bit of an Essex twang, so not even a fancy version, and a tiny bit of French. And you know what? I felt a little bit embarrassed, and not because anyone specifically made me feel that way, but I was struck by feeling how limiting that was, and to be honest, a little bit ignorant. So I came home, I enrolled in Spanish for beginners at my local university. I bought my notebook, I sharpened my pencil, and I committed to becoming at least semi functioning in Spanish. Now, not only do I go to my lessons each week, but I now do 15 minutes of Duolingo every single day. And it made me think really that by doing the Duolingo and going to the classes each week, it made me realize that actually the classes weren't enough. And the Duolingo and practicing it for 15 minutes every day has helped me dramatically. And it really is all about having structure, having the repetition going on, and having that regular progress, like feeling like you're actually getting somewhere. And do you know what? It made me realize actually that learning Spanish has got a hell of a lot to do with learning and carrying out marketing. They have the same challenges. So let me explain that. Now, look at similarity number one, structure. If you don't understand how a sentence fits together in Spanish, you cannot speak it confidently with any type of result. And the same is true of marketing. If you don't understand how your campaign all fits together, then the whole thing collapses and it doesn't work. Now, let's look at similarity number two. I talked about repetition. So languages really only stick with you when you practice them daily. And the same is true of marketing. Marketing only works when your message is repeated often enough that people actually remember it. And then thinking about similarity number three, you have to have progression. You don't start Spanish with, being able to go and debate. You start with, hola, me llamo Victoria. And marketing is the same. You don't begin with funnels and advertising. You start with the foundations. And that's when it really hit me. Most business owners out there, and I know this to be true, are trying to run marketing campaigns the same way that I would just love to speak Spanish even before lesson one. And they're trying to do something fluently, but they don't know how. So it's random, it's inconsistent, and it's out of order. Nothing is there at the right time in the right way. And they're just hoping that somebody is going to magically buy from them. So today, what I'm going to do is walk you through how to create a structured marketing campaign that actually works for you. Because marketing is not throwing out a couple of social media posts and hoping that someone bites and buys something that you've got. And it's not thinking about posting things saying, I've got space for 2 new clients this month, DM me. And it's certainly not sending out one single email and calling that a strategy. That is like learning 3 Spanish words and expecting to go ahead and give a TED talk in Madrid. A proper campaign has structure. It has a lot of intention behind it because it's built as such, and it needs the momentum. So let's start, first of all, with the definition of what a marketing campaign actually is. So a marketing campaign is basically, we've talked about it once already, but it's a structured, time bound sequence of messages that's designed to warm people up through multiple channels of marketing. And it's there to build belief in those people. It's there to present the offer that you have to them and ultimately convert interest into sales. So if you think about that, it's like any good book. It's got a beginning, it's got a middle, it's got an end, but we don't just leave it there. We need to think about the sequel because it needs the follow up as well. And just like learning a language, a campaign is not, I repeat, not random posts. It is not last minute promotions. It's not just winging it every single week and hoping for the best. It's not offers that you have that you never let see the light of day. And it's not just putting stuff out there and hoping that someone hears you, like throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks. It is a strategic conversation with your audience, conversation. And just like a real conversation, it has different phases. So I'm going to break them down for you. Now, think about phase one as the warm up phase. This is where you're starting to get to grips with the vocabulary. And this is where you're going to help people realize that they have a problem in the first place. Because that's when people act, when they've actually got a problem and they need to actually get that resolved. So, some of your warm up messaging and some of the things that you need to be putting out into your marketplace is thinking about the things that are going wrong for your audience, thinking about telling them, look, this is why that's actually happening in the first place, and giving them some things that they actually might not even realize. So, it's all about bringing the awareness. You might not even be selling yet. You might even have a warm up phase that actually introduces some of these problems. So your audience start going, that business or that person really understands me. They get me. They know what I'm going through. Okay, so that's the first thing. You've got to think about warming them up and showing them you understand what they're going through. You get them. Then we move on to thinking about building up the relationship. Okay, so this is where the audience starts to really see what is actually possible for them. So, this could be, for example, we start teaching them things that help them bit by bit to overcome the issues that they have. It might be that we start introducing different frameworks to them, frameworks that they can follow step by step that allows them to get the results that they want. It could be simple insights that by giving them that information, it really makes them realize something that perhaps they didn't before. This build up phase where you're trying to warm the relationship, often this needs to include things like case studies so they can see how you've helped people that have gone before them. And in doing so, that makes them realize, hey, these people really do know their stuff and they know how to get me from the pain I'm in now to the transformation that I really want to achieve. And that's your proof. That's showing who you are and what you're able to actually do for them. And often, another thing in this build up and this relationship building is showing the behind the scenes stuff, showing who you are, what you stand for, what your team do. And that is really the stuff that gets noticed quite a lot. And if you go onto any social media platform or you start to put out posts that show you and your team behind the scenes versus just your everyday brand posts, mark my words, the behind the scenes one, those more human aspects of you, they'll be the ones that get the most traction. They'll be the ones that you'll find people engage with much more. So ultimately, in this bit, we are building belief. Belief not only in us as a business and us as individuals, but we're building belief that, look, we can do this. We've done it. We've been there before. We've bought the t-shirt and we've got the scars. We know this stuff and we can help you with it. So your goal here is to make them realize that this makes utter sense. This is the right direction to be going in. These are the people that can help me. Then we actually go into the launch, so speaking in their language. And this is where you start really thinking about how you position your offer. So Not right at the beginning. This is now. This is where you explain, this is what the offer is. This is who the offer is for. This is who it's actually not for. That's just as powerful sometimes, so that you can make sure you don't bring the wrong audience to your offering. This is where you might talk about the price. This is where you might talk about, if you buy by this time, you get this particular bonus stack. This is where you talk about the deadline. You again think about bringing results and proof in here as well. And this is also where we start to handle objections. So if you've got known objections for your product or service, this is where you're going to start going. And if you think that it's too expensive, well, imagine what would happen if you don't do it. If you feel like you haven't got the time for this, well, let me tell you how we help you to fix that issue. So you're going to talk about the objections before they even become objections. You're going to settle their minds down straight away. So what we're doing here, once we've explained our offer and all about it, is we are helping them to think, I want this. So we have gone through from making them think, yes, this is me. This is absolutely me that they're explaining. Then you're going, this makes sense. I can get that, the way they do things is logical. And then we're making them go, I want this. And once we've done that, that's where we start thinking about the follow up. And this is where most sales happen. But equally, it's the bit that most people skip. So we need to be thinking about the follow up tools here. For example, what have you got in your armory for that follow up? It could be absolutely reminder emails. It could be personal messages. It could be last chance posts. It could be little voice notes that you send. It could be following up with Q&As. One of the core follow-ups that we have is a discovery session for some of our programs, so people can actually come along and listen to exactly how it works. It could be a check-in. But your goal here in this follow-up is to turn warm leads into yeses. You cannot skip the follow-up. This is absolutely the bit that, as I say, most people do skip, but it can't happen. It has to be there as part of your campaign. So just like languages, just like I've talked to you about my Spanish, this is the bit where the real fluency happens in this conversation, because often the follow-up does lead to conversation where you can really get under the skin of what's going on in your customer's mind. And you can really get under the skin of, what are their reservations, and finally get them saying yes. So that is the framework I really want you to think about when you're thinking about your campaigns: the warm up, the build up, the launch, and the follow up. Now, you've got to think about the channels that you use for that, thinking about where your customers hang out. Where are they going to be? So choose those platforms, and the less scattered you are about this, the clearer the campaign's going to feel. So make sure that you're really thinking about those platforms that your customers are on, and building out a sequence of events that goes from them not really knowing anything about your offer at all to building that logical flow of, I get what they do, I understand why it's for me, I'm really interested in it, I'm thinking about buying it, to I am going to buy it. Now, what I'm going to do now is give you a 10-minute marketing task to do. And it's really, really simple. I want you to, in your 10-minute marketing task, write a mini campaign map in just a few bullet points. Specifically, I would like you to think about your low-hanging fruit. So who is it that's in your world at the moment that is more likely to buy than anyone else? So this might be people that are in your database. It could be existing customers that you want to perhaps upsell to. This could be people that have bought from you before, but they've perhaps left your services behind now and they've gone somewhere else, or they've decided not to buy from you again. So how can we entice them back in? So think about who your warmer audience is and write your mini campaign map for them. Now, I want you to write specifically these 5 different things. Number 1, the problem you're warming people up to. So identify, what are they feeling at the moment? What are they struggling with? What is that one thing that is an issue to them that they need to act on right now? Secondly, I want you then to think about the belief you need to build up. So, how can you show the frameworks, the models that you use? How can you show other people that you've helped before? How can you show your process? Make them believe that there is something you have that is going to move them away from that problem. Then I want you to define your offer. What is it going to be? Think about something that is compelling, that's going to move them from the pain to that gain. Bring that offer together and think about things like what's going to make them say yes, what's going to tip them over the edge from thinking, I'm not sure, to yes, I definitely want that. And it could be an extra bonus. Have a little think about the deadline for that offer. So, for example, if it's a seasonal event, it might be that you've got a deadline for that particular season, whether it's Black Friday, Christmas, Valentine's, whatever it might be. So, think about what that logical deadline is. Because people buy when there's scarcity involved. If they feel like something's coming to an end, or if they feel like they're going to miss out, the FOMO thing, then they're much more likely to buy. So, make sure you give the deadline. And then I want you to think about your follow up plan. How will you follow up with those individuals that have shown an interest? Are you going to call them? Are you going to have some email follow up to everybody that you're contacting? Are you going to do a Q&A session? So think about that follow up. It's vital. That is the thing that will get them from sitting on the fence to actually moving forward and buying your offer from you. Go through that 10-minute task. And if you would like to get a download to help you with that, then you can go to allstarmarketingclub.com/resources, and there is a 10-minute campaign builder there to help you. Now, because this is the very first episode of season 2, I'm introducing you to a brand new mini segment for you, and it's called Marketing Karaoke. Now, this is going to be where I pick a song, or one of my guests picks a song, because we're having guests in this season, and it's going to represent the theme of the episode. And we'll tell you exactly why it fits. So you've got a fun, memorable way to anchor that lesson into your mind. Just a little something extra for you to remember the content long after the episode finishes. And this week's song that represents what we've spoken about today is Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. And here is why. A marketing campaign only works when you build momentum and then you keep going. You don't want to warm people up and then go quiet. You don't want to build all of that great belief and then just totally disappear. You don't want to launch on a Monday and then by Tuesday you feel really awkward, so you go completely quiet. And you definitely do not want to be whispering your offer once and hoping that someone notices. No, no, no. A great campaign has got rhythm. It builds, it gathers energy. And when you hit that launch window, you've got to go all in. You turn the dial up. You do not turn it down. So Don't Stop Me Now is the perfect song for this particular episode. Building the momentum, getting the confidence going, the flow of the campaign, that forward movement. Because once that campaign is in motion, the worst thing you can do is stop just when it's starting to work. So when you're planning your next campaign, and I hope you're doing it very, very soon with your 10-minute task that I've given you, I want you to hear Freddie in your ear saying, don't stop me now, because that is exactly the attitude that your marketing needs. Okay, so next time you see someone running a campaign that looks effortless, remember this. It's not luck. It's certainly not talent. It's not magic, it's fluency. It's fluency built on structure. It's repetition, it's progression. It's exactly like learning a language. And if you want help building campaigns that work every single time, DM me in my Instagram or contact the team on info@allstarmarketingclub.com. I've got something that will help you become fluent and very fast indeed. So, gracias for listening. See what I did there? And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.